And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. We're starting things out looking at the solar magnetogram here. From the SDO, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. I think this one's going to get a name today. Sunspot 2887, I think, is going to be the designation for that one. Larger sunspot down here, still only alpha class. Likelihood of major solar flare is not really that high. We did see some minor intensifications, and they came from around the limb, so there's an active region rising down there. We'll take a look at that a little more close up. First, this new sunspot in the northern hemisphere. Likely sunspot 2887. I think it'll get a name today. Here's sunspot 2886 in this new active region. Yeah, it looks like the flaring certainly came from around the limb, so I would have to say that's probably a sunspot over there. Otherwise, relatively low levels of solar activity. There is a coronal hole wind stream currently striking the geospace. The radio flux only at 76. Here's it in context. The radio flux is the black line. The red line is the sunspot number. Again, 76 solar flux units for the radio flux. And if you're wondering what that means, that's 10,000 joules. Each solar flux unit corresponds to 10,000 joules, which is the signal flux density. Anyway, no solar storms forecasted at the moment. Before we look at global seismicity, let's take a look at stereo A. And there you have the coronagraph and the difference imagery from stereo A. Some funk going on out there. Let's hope the spacecraft didn't take damage, as stereo A is one of the most important instruments in order to determine trajectory of coronal mass ejections. If you're wondering where it's located, stereo A is parked out where my pointer is here at Lagrangian point 5. The gravitational equilibrium point that allows it to chase the Earth as it orbits the Sun and see space weather ahead of the Earth, which is why it's called stereo A. We did see a 6 magnitude earthquake come in just before we started recording the video, so that came in near Fiji. There's the past 90 days of earthquake activity reported by volcanodiscovery.com. We love the 90-day bar graph. It's the last 90 days at a glance of global seismicity. So here's that 6 magnitude quake that came in just earlier this morning. Besides that, not really a whole lot of activity, seismically speaking. By the way, that 6 magnitude quake was nearly 500 kilometers depth. That would be over a 7 magnitude quake if that happened at the surface, like a 7.4 or something like that, I would say, for that nearly 500 kilometer deep quake there. Also a deep quake coming in Japan. Only about 20 minutes after the deep quake at Fiji. Continuing on to look at volcanoes. I'm wondering what's erupting. And indeed some evacuations here on La Palma. Yes. Cumbre La Viejas. Not a significant change in the activity, meaning quite a lot of activity, growing lava flow fields at high effusion rates. As it advances toward the area of La Laguna, the southern part of which is already buried under lava flows. So the government there deciding whether they will evacuate more or not. Subanose-jima also erupting 8,000-foot ash plume over the Ryukyu Islands from Subanose-jima. Manam continuing to explode at Papua New Guinea, 8,000-foot ash plume from Manam. Langila, 15,000-foot ash plume as Langila explodes. That's located at Papua New Guinea, the island of New Britain. Semeru, on East Java, Indonesia, exploding. 13,000-foot ash plume from Semeru. Popocatépetl, now back on the list. The central Mexican volcano exploding, flight level 190. As it produces a 19,000-foot ash plume fertilizing some of Mexico. Fuego exploding, 15,000-foot ash plume over Guatemala. Sabancaya exploding. 26,000-foot ash plume over Peru. And Nevados de Chilean proving to come through with a sporadic volcanic ash puff. Enough to receive a place on the list and remind us not to pole vault the caldera. I would remind our viewers to visit our shop throughout the rest of the day today. You can enter the promo code SHOPEARLY to save 20 to 60% store-wide. So you'll save something on anything, it looks like, according to Redbubble. Please don't pole vault the caldera. It could be unhealthful. We need the views on YouTube. Tell your friends and foes about the content. Today's featured product is the My Vaccination Status is None of Your Business shirt. I'm wearing one now. HIPAA, because my vaccination status is none of your business. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 has not evaporated, folks. It's still a thing. And your protected health information is none of anybody's business at all, except for yours. It's our bestseller. Yeah. 51 products available there. The one I was wearing is the Essential T-shirt in Blaze Orange because nothing says don't run me over or shoot me like orange clothing. Check out SMASHOMASH.com if you want to find links to that. SMASHOMASH.com. Here's the bottom of the homepage. I just wanted to show you that because there's a Redbubble link down there as well as a link to YouTube. The first 9 SMASHOMASH.org presents the Sun Series videos. You can find all of those at SMASHOMASH.com as well as YouTube.com/SMASHOMASH/playlists. If you click the SMASHO merch link, you can be directed to all of this good stuff. At the Redbubble shop again, enter the promo code SHOPEARLY to save 20 to 60% store-wide through today. Next, looking at some magnetic data. Here are the ghost magnetometers. Nothing too exciting going on there, although there is a coronal hole wind stream striking at the moment. We may see some spikes and oddities on the ghost magnetometer as a result of the high-speed coronal hole wind stream. Still over 500 kilometers per second last I checked. We'll get to it in a minute. First, the top view ecliptic plane field plot showing the Earth remaining solidly in a South Pole current sheet shown here in red. Here's the line of sight view also showing the solar magnetogram. South Pole current sheet here to stay at the moment. Next, the line of sight coronal hole plot. Sun's B field lines shown here in blue. We've got indecisive coronal holes in the east. We've got transequatorial coronal holes showing up there of both polarities. We'll have to keep an eye on that and wait to see what happens, if we see well-defined coronal holes or not. Anyway, here's the 193 angstroms view. Again, some additional activity rising here to the east of sunspot 2866. Likelihood of major flares has gone up a little bit with this new sunspot group, and of course we're already seeing flares out of this. We could see a major flare out of this. So I'm going to say I'm going to say solar flare warning, because we've already seen a little bit of intensification out of it. We'll get to the flaring in a minute. There you can see some high-level B-class flares happening there in the past 24 hours. As measured by the GOES 16 and 17. No strikes in the proton flux. No CMEs headed Earth's way at the moment. How about the real-time solar wind? Again, we're over 500 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed. By the way, this is measured at Lagrangian 0.1, if you're wondering. The Discover and the ACE spacecraft are the sources of this data. So again, solar wind speed quite high here, 522 kilometers per second. Solar wind density, just average 7.99 protons per cubic centimeter. The rest of the pane's fairly uneventful. I would note one other thing. We did see an increase in the plasma temperature as this high-speed coronal hole wind. It's a high-hot coronal hole wind stream. KP index currently at 2. Geomagnetic calm conditions. Here's the geospace over the past 4 hours as modeled by the Space Weather Modeling Framework. A reasonable series of maths interpolating a lot of different data into this 4 hours of data. This 4-hour model, courtesy of University of Michigan. Everything looking pretty steady here. according to the Space Weather Modeling Framework, over the past 4 hours. We'll also look at ground magnetic perturbation, since there's a geomagnetic excursion going on that people are unnecessarily frightened of. Here's where the perturbations are occurring at the ground level, giving you insight into where Earth's magnetic fields are located. The Earth's magnetic poles, for example. The south one is down here somewhere. The north one is up here somewhere. And I don't know why people are so frightened of it, but they are. So we show this daily to show geospace delta B changes to Earth's B field. Next, here's a diagram of the solar system if you're wondering where things are. Mars is lonely. Let's advance it 1 week. Here's where things will be on the 28th. Mercury headed around to the Mars side of the Sun as Venus chases. Next, a star chart. This is what's going on above my head. It's in-the-sky.org. If you want to make your own chart, put in your location and use the all sky charts. We've got a setting moon here in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Let's do a cosmology segment and make it brief. It's the Dolphin Head Nebula, starting out with the shell created by a Wolf-Rayet star, which I believe is this star here. This is probably a foreground star. I think this is all associated with this star here. But in any case, it's the Dolphin Head Nebula, and I would indeed agree in this case that this does look like a dolphin head. If you want to check that out yourself, apod.nasa.gov. It's SH2-308, located at about 5,000 light years distance in the constellation of Canis Major. And Wolf-Rayet stars are probably well known to our regular viewers. If you're not a regular viewer, please press like and subscribe and tell your friends and foes about the channel, as we don't think the algorithms are particularly doing that. Wolf-Rayet stars are interesting in that they are massive, hot, bright, and they have a huge particle output, a very strong, high-speed, very dense stellar wind coming out of Wolf-Rayet stars. Here's a perfect example of a giant nebular shell made by one of them. Let's take a look at an X-ray source. This one's known by the catchy name of CXO M31 004211.37 plus 410425551. It's an ultra-bright X-ray source located in the galaxy of M31, Messier Object 31, more commonly referred to as the Andromeda Galaxy. And these graphs right here are the hard X-ray outputs from this X-ray source in the Andromeda Galaxy. I've done a little bit of research on this for you here, folks. So this is one of the X-ray sources detected in the Andromeda Galaxy. These particular ones featured in this imagery here, XMMU J004243.6 plus 412519 and CXO M31 J00424453 plus 411422. Those are not the same X-ray source. This one's, of course, as I'm sure you all remember, CXO M31 004211.37 plus 4104225551. Anyway, those are all ultra-luminous X-ray sources located in the closest major galaxy to the Milky Way, M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. So I figured I'd bring up some imagery of M31. Here it is on the CDS portal. And this is the imagery from the XMM Newton. So what's cool about the Andromeda Galaxy, folks, is that it's viewed semi-ecliptic plane. So in other words, we're kind of looking down at the galaxy. The pole isn't oriented directly enough at us, the observers, that it's obscuring the galaxy features. We can see all of these bright X-ray sources, some of which may be things like Wolf-Rayet stars, but more likely clumps of stars, actually. Anyway, there it is on the XMM Newton, a great variety of X-ray sources visible there. And of course, M31 will look completely different in ultraviolet. So here it is in ultraviolet on the Galix, giving you some insight into plasma structures, for example. And in optical, it looks completely differently. Once again, the commonly seen Andromeda Galaxy, visible to the naked eye, actually. There it is on pan-stars. Great high-resolution imagery there showing the spiral arms and so on of M31, the Milky Way's closest major galactic neighbor. That's today's cosmology segment. Don't forget to check our playlists for lots more, over 200. youtube.com/smashamash/playlists. Lots of material in there besides the daily space weather. Next, we'll look at charging hazards. And there are some minor charging hazards caused by things like electrons, free electrons. Yes, they can charge the surface of satellites, and they're doing so around Mexico and the Central Pacific, Baja California, moving into the area south of Hawaii at the moment. Could cause some minor disruptions, probably not. They're only minor charging hazards. Here's the 1-year chart of the relative physical electrons surrounding planet Earth. Those are located at about 300 kilometers of altitude, folks, where the GOES 16 and GOES 17 make their measurements. There's the 3-day chart of that. We can expect low levels of electron flux here. And they're already pretty low. They won't get much lower than that. I would say that tomorrow's yellow box will be a little below the green box, right about there. And it's a result of the incoming coronal hole wind stream. So the high-speed wind likely to keep the electron flux low, in my opinion. Here's a diagram of Earth's Van Allen belts because we're showing you the total electron content forecast next. And GPS errors are pretty minor at the moment. Again, low levels of electron flux. We are seeing fairly organized electron densities here. Not a lot of chaos kicking off there. Here's another diagram of the atmosphere showing you where the F-ionosphere layer is. It's at about 300 kilometers of altitude because we're showing you the ionogram next. Let's animate that and the anomalygram. So here's the ionogram, cursing at the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. Courtesy of the Australian Government Bureau of Meteorology. It's showing you vibrational frequency in megahertz, millions of vibrations per second. There's the latest image, 10 o'clock Universal Time. Here's the anomalygram showing you anomaly from the 30-day median in megahertz. Primarily low-frequency anomalies at the moment over places like the Middle East, the northern Indian Ocean, Central America, places north of the equator primarily. Anyway, there's the latest image, again from 10 o'clock Universal Time. There's the ionogram, there's the anomalygram. Let's do bonus features, it's about that time. Starting with the El Teide ground-based solar observatory. Yeah, located in the Canary Islands. And it looks like there's some clouds there. Still getting some imagery here of sunspot 2886 and likely sunspot 2887. Here's the latest intensitygram. And let's see if we see umbrae. We see multiple umbrae there. That is certainly a sunspot. That needs to get a name. That's sunspot 2887. Here's the colorized magnetogram, the latest refresh. And you can see opposite polarities happening there. The most likely spot of major flares is going to be from down here, though. And we don't see any sunspots there yet. We do see some fields rising. We'll close things out with some more imagery of the closest star in great detail here. 2 wavelengths, 304 and 171 angstroms. That's ionized helium and iron. And here's 304 angstroms. More great imagery. And we'll close things out with my favorite, 171 angstroms. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to stare at the sun, attempt to understand the physics, perhaps use our channel to do so. We invite all of you to ask questions. Remember, folks, there are no stupid questions. However, there are stupid people. I'll just leave it there. Don't forget to press like, subscribe, and share on your social media accounts. And may that solar wind be at your back.